archaeology. Get out of there, Dan!
Oh, there we are. We're on now.
Oh, we are? Oh, alright, then I won't touch it.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I hear us now.
Oh, good.
So, hey, everybody. We're always trying new setups to make this sound better.
True.
And I think we've got the mics figured out. And I'm going to leave the headphones on so I make sure I still hear us. But if you happen to be watching this and you hear our audio drop out, we're trying something new with the microphones. And I think the audio already sounds, like, really good.
Cool.
Yeah, the audio sounds really good. So, okay. Yeah, I'm actually going to make just a couple small adjustments here, so...
Wow, you're not kidding. That thing is huge.
What thing? What thing?
The base station.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. They should have made it look like a saucer, just like the other one.
I know. Okay. So I think I'll start with something fun, because I was telling Richie, I found this out here at the Reno Collective because it's full of uber geeks. The Casio calculator watch, like the classic calculator watch with the buttons on it.
Yeah.
There was a guy here, the guy that's actually one of the managers of the collective, was wearing it the other day, like on Friday, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I'll just put my arm right in front of the camera. That's awesome. Sorry about that. Anyway, he was wearing that calculator watch, and I was like, dude, did you find that at like a garage sale or something? What the hell? And no. Yeah. Apparently Casio like had a ton of them, like has always had a ton of them left over. Like they made billions of them, and they never sold them all. So but they still just sell them on their website. So you can get a brand new one. It's not refurbished or anything. It's just they haven't made them in 2 decades, but they still have stock of them, and they sell them for $24.99 on their website.
Hey, you know what's crazy? People actually collect the original HP calculator watch, which was the first one.
I mean, people collect everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
But but when it was brand new, it was like $1,000 watch.
Well, yeah.
And to activate the buttons, they gave you a little stylus, like a tiny little stylus.
Oh my god. To push physical buttons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because the buttons were so tiny.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. 2 things. One, HP, their first calculator HP ever puts out on a line is always $1,000. Even like today. Like HP's calculators are always expensive. Really? Right off the bat. Oh. They're always high end, you know? Like before the TI-86 came out, and the TI-92, and the TI, the one before the 86, the TI-81 or whatever it was, that was like the graphing calculator of my generation. And I still have a TI-86 somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. And I've got it like in a box somewhere, because I had all my formulas, because you could program in formulas. Oh. I had them all printed on the inside cover of the thing. And, I mean, I had Tetris on there, and you could, because people were coded games into it. But anyway, before that came out, the HP version, which was like the reverse Polish notation, they called it, that was like the engineering standard for doing that stuff.
Man, to think you can just do that with the phone app these days.
I know. And also, so there's the Casio watch, which I'm tempted to buy that just to have it, but I don't want to have other things. You should buy it because you wear those kind of watches. Yeah. But the thing is, Apple came out. There was a report, and of course this is all speculation, like it usually is. But there was a speculation that in one of the future Apple Watch updates, I don't know if it's going to be 11 or WatchOS 4 or 5 or whatever it is coming out in September. Yeah. But they might be allowing third-party watch faces, and if they do. You know damn well there's going to be a Casio calculator watch face.
Cool.
So, but I was thinking, there's more and more people that have these things. If you can make a third-party watch face, that really opens it up into making different apps and stuff. And I'd like to make some watch faces for archaeology. I mean, like, what would that look like?
Oh, you just need UTM coordinates?
Well, but there are apps that do that.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, so how, like, my Motion X GPS will show me UTM coordinates live on the screen.
Oh, damn. So you couldn't overlay that over a lifetime moving topo map.
You probably could, but you'd run your battery down pretty quick.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but is that even functional though? You know, like it's pretty small. So, what are some things? Now, I don't mean an app here when I'm talking about a watch face. I mean a watch face. Like when I look at my watch face, I've got the chronograph up here now, and I can put what they call complications in the corners, which are access to other applications. Yeah. But you know, what would I want to see? There's the stupid Disney one. What would I want to see? Like I've got this one here that shows me my calendar, you know, time zone, you know, some other things. But what would a third-party watch face look like for archaeology? That's my question.
Oh, because I was going to say I already know what I want to see.
Yeah.
Well, Tag Heuer had a square kind of watch. I think it was called a Monaco or something.
Yeah.
The one Steve McQueen wears in like one of his movies.
Right.
And it's square, so I'm thinking,
Nice,
man, that'd be
nice.
a nice looking face, especially considering that the real watch is not cheap.
Right. I wanted to say Leah Grant joined. Sorry, not Lee. Leah. Welcome. She was in the first webinar that was actually by Team Black last week, and that was actually something we talked about on this show.
Yeah.
And then I put them together and had one, and had 3 students show up for the first one.
Really?
Had like 6 sign up, but there were 3 just didn't show up. That's what you get with a free webinar. People will register for it and then be like, I don't want to do it.
Or they're busy.
Well, and I don't care about that because I run it with even one person because I put these on my calendar and they're once a month. You can take it every month if you want. I mean, I honestly don't care. Those particular ones are free, so I figure take it as many times as you want, or if you end up not going. Now, it might irritate me a little bit if like nobody shows up, and they're also and a bunch of people. If nobody signed up, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I expect that for some webinars. Like I'll just run them, and some months nobody will show up. Some months there'll be a full class.
Yeah.
But if like 2 people sign up and both of them don't show up, well, that's just taking time out of my day. Because I'm ready to go. You know, I'm standing there. I'm ready to go. I've got the thing rolling. I'm paying for the software to do the webinar.
You are?
Yeah. Well, I had to. I'm using Zoom. And in order to do more than 3 people on a free conference call for more than 40 minutes, you have to pay for it. So you can use it for free if you're less than 40 minutes. Yeah, but these are, I mean, I struggled to get the jobs one for CRM in an hour, and it actually ended up being a little over an hour. And then I sat on for another, 20 minutes answering questions. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a lot of information, but I also want to try to make it succinct enough that it can be in that short a time frame. So.
Yeah. Well, in the limited time we have available.
Yeah. What do you got?
I was going to say, I was really impressed with the group of people that showed up at that meeting yesterday.
Yeah, we had a meeting about mid-century modern architecture here in Reno because a lot of the old 50s hotels are being torn down.
And, like, I thought it was just going to be a bunch of, I don't know, just like a bunch of amateurs, but it's like, I was surprised. Like, architectural historian, you know.
Well, she's running the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, she set it up.
And then you got the, who does she work for? Can we say that on air?
She works for herself.
Oh.
Well, she subconsults for a lot of companies, but she's her own company.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's permanent with somebody yet. I don't think so. I think she's still freelancer, basically. I've used her before.
Really?
Yeah. Her name's Corey Jimenez. You know, if you want an architectural historian in Reno, she's great. She walked around with me on one of my projects in Reno that was actually near the VA hospital in Reno. And there's a lot of really cool stuff going on around there that's just around you that unless you're a historian, like an architectural historian, you really can't tell what you're looking at, you know, and she was just able to read that landscape really well. It's pretty neat.
But like the architectural dude we were sitting next to?
Yeah.
The architect dude, and then like almost, I mean, there were only like, 2 or 3 amateurs there.
I know. There were some enthusiasts, some people interested, but, you know, to have a very first... I guess meeting of this group, because the Facebook group was just set up like a couple months ago, and now it's got over 800 members.
Really?
And to have a meeting of this size where, what was it, like probably 20 people showed up?
Yeah.
You know, just on the first time, that's not too bad.
Oh man, I was just thinking about it now, live streaming it.
I know.
Although I don't imagine there's Wi-Fi in that casino. Much more importantly, that casino, my God, that place. I mean, did it smell unpleasant when you were walking to the register as well?
What old Reno casino doesn't smell unpleasant?
But unusually unpleasant, like someone.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's the way it is. But you know.
I mean, I prefer a casino to at least smell smoky or something. That smell was like.
Well, this place is more of a restaurant. They just happen to have gaming machines up front.
That was gross. Imagine eating with that smell around.
I know. Yeah. It's an old place. That's kind of my point, though, with what I want to talk about if we do a podcast about preserving stuff in the city, right?
Yeah.
One of the big points that was made about, I guess we should probably explain a little bit. There's over 70 what they call mid-century modern, so 1950s hotels and signs and other things that are around Reno, and most of the people affiliated with this group and other people around town are disturbed by the fact that a certain company wants to tear them all down and put up other stuff.
Well, they don't. Well, they say they want to put up other stuff. They don't have any plans or money.
Right, and that was the next point. They say they want to put up other stuff, but there's actually no plan moving forward. But not only is there no plan moving forward, but the city doesn't actually sound like it has a real plan either.
No.
Yeah, so the city's like, well, we want stuff and things and people to come here, but we don't really have a plan for that. So that's also a problem.
I mean, they think it looks bad now, but imagine downtown with like 20 empty blocks of like dirt lots.
Right. But here's the thing I'm questioning. These people want to save these things, and I'll be honest. Let's be quite frank here. These are people that have either grown to love Reno for one reason or another, or are multi-generation Reno. One guy, his family moved here 2 years before Nevada was even a state.
Yeah.
And, it's like, I think it's nostalgia is really what this boils down to. This is nostalgia because when these people were growing up, or maybe when they came here, they're looking at this older character. They just like old things, which is some people specifically said, I like anything old.
Yeah.
Who established the baseline that said the mid-century modern look is the look of Reno, is the character of Reno? Because my point to the organizer, Corey, at the end, and I would talk about this on a podcast, is again, who established that baseline that 1950s is what Reno looks like? Because in the 1950s, when everything started to change, listen, if over 100 properties were erected in the Reno area in a single decade, that really changed this character and look of the city from what it was before. Probably had still some Old West style buildings, some really early century buildings, some Victorian buildings, which are still around. But a lot of that stuff had to have been torn down to put up a lot of these hotels. I mean, we're not talking about hotels out on the fringe as the city grows. We are sometimes, but we're talking about like downtown Reno. Yeah. Like there's a block right behind where I live that is all these hotels. Something else had to have been there. Yeah. So what group was complaining about this stuff back in the 50s, saying you're tearing down the character of Reno?
Well, I mean, when I worked at the bookstore, like I'd see the occasional old Reno book, and it looked very different. Yeah. Like most of those hotel blocks were like all I don't want to say Victorian. They're more like 1890s turn of the century commercial buildings. Right, right. Like right around the arch. Yeah. I don't even know if people know which arch we're talking about. The one that says, welcome to Reno?
The Reno Arch. I mean, I feel like people that don't even live here probably have heard of that.
Really?
It seems to be, it seems to be something well known. I knew about it before I ever lived here for some reason or another.
But
not really sure why.
I mean, they've got an interesting idea I agree with you. Mid-century modern, it's not like Palm Springs where like there was no town and then suddenly it sprung up in the 50s.
Right. Well, I come from a background. I come from a baseline of two things. One, just because it's old doesn't mean it needs to be preserved. True. I mean, I'm not saying some of these things shouldn't be preserved, but oldness doesn't imply preservation, right? Okay. So the other thing is, I don't think inherently new things. I don't think new things are inherently bad.
True.
I mean, this one of the women that is one of the organizers, she's like, when I walk into a building built now, like a new building, she's like, I don't feel inspired. I feel like there's a lack of character.
Really?
Sure, that might be the case, but there's plenty of fantastic buildings getting put up by really great architects, like right now. And the simple fact that, maybe she's talking about walking into a strip mall or something like that. Sure, the legacy of the 1980s strip mall, is going to plague us forever. But in 30 years, somebody's going to be like, we got to preserve all these old strip malls because we don't have any left.
It's already happening.
I know, right? So
it's interesting because I come from a town where it was one of the first towns in the country that have like a local historic preservation ordinance. Yeah. Yeah, and more importantly, like almost nothing got torn down. Like, literally after like 2 or 3 buildings got torn down, suddenly they put a stop to that. So pretty much it's just like it's like, they say it's like the most complete collection of Victorian architecture in the country.
Yeah.
Like the whole like span of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
That's really cool.
So that's the sort of town I come from.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting because like there's like a 30 or 40 year battle over the movie theater because like some people wanted just plain torn down, but eventually they compromised and it was turned into so that the main theater was restored. So it's like the biggest movie screen in the Bay Area. But then they added like parking and like smaller screens adjacent to it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can kind of tell that it's like, not original, but it's like kind of close enough where it's like integrated or holistic.
Right.
And now it's like a movie theater, and like people go there all the time. I go there all the time when I visit my mom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that can be done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things that can be done to some of these old buildings.
See? Like some of these old hotels. I mean, obviously the rooms are like they're not good enough for like the modern hotel visitor.
Right. Yeah, they're barely good enough for the people that are living there weekly or monthly.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem in Reno, and why these hotels are actually still around and still used like that is because what I was told is about 40 years ago, Reno changed their laws against long-term stays. It used to be that you couldn't stay. Yeah, it used to be you couldn't stay more than a few days if you didn't have a kitchen. And I want to say it was a week or 2 weeks or something like that. But they changed that law, and now all these old hotels, they don't have any cooking facilities or anything like that. But people are able to rent them by the month.
Oh man, I remember I did that when I first got to Reno. Like our whole crew. Well, I mean,
anybody who's like, why would you ever rent a hotel by the month? And if you're saying that, you're clearly not an archaeologist.
Yeah. I mean, I used to live out of the Motel 6 down the street, like, a week at a time.
I mean, I think the longest single stretch that I was ever in a hotel, a single hotel room without even moving rooms was, I think it was 7 months.
Yeah.
And that was down in Miami, one of my first projects. So my second project, actually.
I was going to say North Dakota for me.
Yeah. And then I think the next one was probably the Big Chief Motel in Winnemucca.
Oh, God.
I liked it, though. I thought it was okay for hotels. I mean, I liked the owners. They actually brought out a smorgasbord of Indian food for us once every month or so.
They did?
Oh, yeah. They were Indian, East Indian, and they just made these huge trays of, like, chicken tikka masala and all kinds of stuff, and they'd bring it out for us, because we had like 30 people staying there.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to stay there, but most of us were staying there.
Because I stay at the big hotel down the way at the end.
America's Best?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they had an elevator.
Nice. Well, this was only 2 floors, and we were on the bottom floor. Most of us were on the bottom floor. But these guys had a hot tub, which was pretty nice, and like a little wooden shack outside the pool. An outdoor pool. I mean, we had a lot of good times at that hotel. And
I think I only stayed there once.
Yeah, Rachel and I, used one of the pro tips that we learned back then doing that kind of thing was, if you're going to be there long term, I took pictures of the room and how it was organized when we moved in. And then we moved stuff around. We moved the bed, we moved all kinds of stuff. And they didn't care as long as we put it back the way we were done with it. And Russell, who used to be a host of one of the shows on the podcast, he had kind of a pro tip. He would usually request the rooms that had 2 beds in them if he was going to be there long term. But then he would dismantle one of the beds and put it up against the wall. Oh. And then he'd have a whole area for like working out or doing whatever he's going to do. And he'd have this whole space, because some rooms nowadays in hotels, it seems like even the rooms with 1 bed are the same size. They just have extra furniture in them. Yeah. But sometimes you'll find a room's actually smaller if it only has 1 bed in it. So if you get the room with 2 beds in it, you've got more space.
Oh, see, because I use the second bed as like a lounger and to throw all my crap on it.
We call it the dirty bed.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the one you lay in after work before you shower. Everybody knows about the dirty bed. Yeah, Rachel and I had a dirty room one time.
Really?
Yeah, because this company we worked for back in the southeast, they wouldn't let us get like a nicer room on the per diem. Because they gave us per diem, but then they also bought the rooms, right? Occasionally, so they wouldn't let us kind of game the system a little bit, maybe get a nicer room and still save them money. So we said, well, screw you guys then. We're going to get 2 separate rooms, and you're going to pay for it because we're 2 separate people. We weren't even married yet. So we were like, let's get 2 separate rooms. So we got an adjoining room, and then we just had the door open between them, and we had like all our field stuff in one room, and then we lived in the other one. It was so stupid. But we could shower at the same time.
I mean, kind of had like a living room.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, and I always get up before she does, and in a hotel room that's really hard. If you want to get up and do stuff on your computer or whatever, it's just noisy. So I just go to the other room and shut the door.
My favorite thing to do was to get the room next to the gym.
Yeah?
Well, because I was usually the one using the treadmill.
Nice.
So, it meant I could use it whenever I felt like it. I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to get down there before a certain time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, I'm tired.
You know what I thought was funny? You know, I mean, I'm not going to discuss too much about it because, you know. But this weekend when I went into work, they were talking to me about PPE and equipment and all that stuff. And they're like, you know, they got this new rule where, like, you have to wear gloves. Are you comfortable wearing gloves? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable wearing gloves.
You always I'm surprised you don't have gloves on now. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like, wow, I guess they never, I guess you never worked with me.
Right. Yeah, Richie has always got gloves on. I wouldn't say I always have gloves on, but I have gloves on a lot of the time when I'm even just surveying. You know, sometimes it's just, you never know, and even when you're going to have to, like, scramble up a hill or move some brush out of the way or do something, and you just don't want to, I mean, you risk getting your hands scratched up, and it protects them from the sun, too.
And plus, are you really going to eat with those hands? Like, that's what I always grosses me out when I see people like they
do.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Then do you stick your gloved hand in your Pringle can that's sitting up out of your vest?
They're Pringles. They're antiseptic.
They're not really food anyway, so, you know, there you go.
According to Britain.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh my God, and God, you know what else was crazy? I had forgotten that that's a Ridley's now in Winnemucca, because it didn't used to be. I feel like
Ridley's?
Yeah, because I feel like it used to be a Scolari's or something.
Oh, I don't even know.
And I remember years ago when I was working at Ely, I got a Ridley's card. And that was the only time I ever used it. I'm like, oh my God, I can get to use that card again.
Nice. Yep. All right. So what else you got for today on this Earth Day?
Oh, I don't know if it's Earth Day related, but I did have some trauma in my truck.
Yeah?
Yeah, which I already told Chris about. But the thing is, was it 3 years ago, I got my truck repaired. I got the rear axle completely rebuilt. It was a $1,600 job.
Expensive.
Yeah. You know, it chewed up a lot of my savings. And, you know, so I thought, oh, it's good. And then I bring it in. They're like, oh my God, it's leaking again. So I'm like, God damn, I just brought it in for an oil change. And the worst part is that, you know, I brought it in on a Tuesday, and I didn't know, and they didn't call me till Friday to tell me that, oh yeah, it's good, like it's our fault.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to pay another $800, $1,200.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did they replace anything in there that, like, extended its life?
Well, probably? I mean, they didn't really have
to.
They
just fix it.
They just fixed it.
Yeah.
The only problem is that now I have to drive my truck between here and Winnemucca, which is normally is all right, but the damn stereo crapped out right after the SCAs. Like, literally, I got back, and the next day, it died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is ironic.
That is ironic. That's crazy.
Oh, well, the point about all this, by the way, is that if you're an older field tech or you have an older vehicle, you should look into new stereos. It's crazy what you can get for the money.
Yeah.
Like $110, and it's just like, man.
What's those little things that improve your, again, I always talk about improving your quality of life, and looking at those little things that you might not think. I mean, a new stereo in 2018 in your older vehicle that allow you to stream your phone via Bluetooth and do different things, that might seem trivial, but man, it's just really nice to have on long road trips, which we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I don't know how many people do like the 12 or 15-hour drive, but, you know.
I mean, probably all of us. And if not that, at least shorter. I mean, hell, Wednesday I'm doing a 7-hour drive, so.
Really? Oh,
you know,
where to?
Going to San Luis Obispo.
Oh, that's only 7 hours?
Well, it's actually like 6.5 hours, or 6 hours, but I plan for a little extra, so. Yeah. No, going down to teach a bunch of coders how to do archaeology.
Neat.
Bunch of developers.
Ooh.
Yeah, for WildNote. So it's handy. I mean, they're doing a really good job on the back end of WildNote, but it's handy, I thought, just to have an afternoon where we do some mock recording with the forms that they've created, so they can really understand the functionality and how they're working. It's not like incredibly necessary, but I feel like it's a good step to do every once in a while. It's a good thing to have. When I was working on development the first time around, we had a development company in India, actually.
I remember that.
Yeah, and with the time change, I mean, I was teaching Eastern Indian developers how to do Great Basin archaeology over the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was real fun.
And of course, it's always difficult to explain certain concepts, especially when there's like, I guess, an experience barrier. Because I know that probably most of them, like, English is probably like a native language over there, or like an official language.
It is, but there's still a language barrier when it comes down to like jargon and things like that. There might be some very, they learn, and they all obviously spoke really good English. I mean, They spoke English really well. They deal with a lot of, English companies, speaking companies, obviously. I mean, they work all over the world, but
I assume their English jargon was all literally English.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So when you get down to archaeological terms, and these experiences are things that I'm glad I've had, because I've had to explain archaeology to a lot of people, whether it was that company or the company I'm working with now, or even when I was with Codify, trying to speak CRM terms to somebody who is an archaeologist but not really familiar with CRM, and trying to explain the things that we do and the reasons that we do them in ways that make sense to somebody who has no idea what I'm talking about. Because even if you understand archaeology, the guy I was talking to had a PhD in archaeology, so but that doesn't mean anything if you don't know the field you're actually working in, and you're trying to explain it to somebody. I think this is a good experience for all of us to have, is explain what you do from phase 1 survey to, excavation, and then writing a report and doing all those things. Try to explain that to a 15-year-old or something like that, and see if they understand it. Because we don't realize how much jargon we use in our everyday speak.
True.
When we're just talking to each other. So, and part of our job is to do public outreach and tell people what we do. And if you can't tell people what we do in a logical and instructive way, then there's no point. Yeah. You're just going to confuse them.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway. Yeah.
All right. Did you want to give a review of this cup?
Not really. I can, but until I get an affiliate account with these guys. This is the Ember Travel Mug. I've showed you guys the Ember ceramic mug before. Again, I don't make any money off these guys, so this is not a commercial. But I think it's great. I actually think it's probably a little better than the ceramic mug, because when the ceramic one's battery dies, if you don't have the saucer around to charge it, the charging base, it goes cold real fast. It's just an exposed open ceramic coffee mug, right?
Yeah.
So, but when the battery dies on this thing, if you're keeping your temperature around 140 degrees like I do, which is pretty high, the battery lasts for maybe an hour. If it's colder out, obviously the battery has to work harder to keep it, so then the battery lasts for less time. I'm assuming when it's warmer out, if you're drinking hot coffee and it's 70 degrees out, it's probably going to last a lot longer. Now, that being said, when the battery dies, it still is a travel mug. It still is a well-insulated travel mug. That's the big difference with the other one. So if you were only going to buy one or the other, obviously I'd probably buy this one. And it's got a narrower base on it than at least some of the travel mugs I have, and this fits in. My Tacoma has 2 big cup holders kind of in the front, but then that one smaller one in the console. Yeah. And it's pretty much made for like a 12-ounce can, like a tin can.
I don't put anything in it.
Well, this fits in it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Yeah.
Sometimes I forget it's there because that's where I put my gloves.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I hardly ever use it either because nothing ever fits in there. Yeah. But this does fit in there, so yeah, it's pretty great.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and by the way, I forgot to thank Ryan for joining. Ryan joins almost every time we're on.
Yay.
So, it's pretty great.
Oh, man. Too bad you couldn't have Corey on Ryan's show. Wait, is it? Or is it Justin? No.
Oh, my other client, Justin. Yeah, I probably could. Yeah. So, I don't know how much time we have left on your recording.
We got about 15, 17 minutes.
So I want to bring something up, unless you've got something.
No, go ahead.
I want to bring something up. So I heard this, and this is great. I hope people are listening to the replay of this, because I'm not sure if Leah and Ryan care. But Ryan, you might care. You might get your company to try this. Or actually, I should have tried it with your company, is what I really should say. Yeah. So I heard on a podcast this guy talking about the industry he was in, and basically saying they were suffering because in their industry, people would take too long to pay, basically.
Oh yeah.
And that's a typical thing with archaeology, especially CRM. And it's not that they're taking too long to pay; it's just the culture of the nature of how we do this business. It's like most clients, unless you have a payment schedule, most clients are going to pay you 100% of what you did at the end of the project, unless you have a prior arrangement. Now, like BLM and other agencies will often do like a 50% paid at the end of the field work, and then 25% at the end of the draft report, and then 25% at the end of the final report. Yeah. The problem with that is the field work is probably 75% of the cost, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so many people. So, like when I did this $400,000 project 3 years ago, the field work was $300,000, and that's no joke.
Yeah.
I didn't have $300,000.
No.
I got lucky that the company I was working with, which is actually the company Ryan works for, who was they were the prime contractor, and they sub-consulted me to do the field work.
Yeah.
I got super lucky that they were so awesome in basically letting me invoice them every 2 weeks. So I was invoicing them for about $20,000 every 2 weeks, and that's just so I could make payroll. You know, that was pay and per diem for 4 people early on, and then 8 people later on. So it wasn't 20 grand early on; it was probably 10 or 12, and then it was up to 20 near the end. Because per diem, I was paying per diem out at for that second, not the one you were on, the second one. I think it was 115 or 120. Because the military set it. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd have been 130. But because they actually dropped the per diem from the project that you were on with me before that. They dropped what I was allowed to give, and then because of that, I raised the hourly rates.
Oh, really?
To try to give to offset that a little bit. But the shitty thing is, they're dropping the non-taxable one, and I had to raise the taxable one. There's nothing I could do about it though. Yeah. But anyway, it was cool because when you have 8 people and they're all getting a little over $1,000 every 2 weeks cash. That's almost $9,000 in cash that you're just handing out at the beginning of the session. You're like, my God, that hurts a lot. And then every 2 weeks, everybody's getting, about I guess it was probably about $1,500 in pay, give or take. Yeah. Whatever you get. And if your gross is $1,500, that's costing me close to $3,000 because I pay about twice as much in taxes and in payroll costs. Yeah. So just looking at the staggering cost of these things. So anyway, the point is, this company, they said they were in the same boat. They had $50,000, $100,000 contracts, and they weren't able to get them done because they weren't paying until the end, and it was just a cycle, right? Well, they actually raised their prices and then started giving discounts for early payment, and it changed their entire business. New clients thought that they were getting a massive discount when in reality they were maybe getting a tiny discount, and if they didn't decide to pay early, then these guys just got a huge payday. As long as they could make it to the end of the project. Well, I tried this with my very first proposal that came around after hearing about this, and it's one I do a lot of times, so I have a good relationship with the client. Yeah. But I basically raised the cost and then added 3-level payment discount system, 15%, 10%, and 5%, depending on when they pay. If they pay full cost before fieldwork starts, then they get a 15% discount, which is huge. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of money. But it's actually only a little bit less than they normally would have paid because I raised the prices of the project. So they're actually saving real money. They're not just saving money because I raised my prices, but they're saving real money on what they thought it was going to be. Ooh. And I get, as a small business, I mean, getting the money ahead of time is huge.
Well, I mean, most people like in CRM, like with the field techs, don't even realize that it's basically, payment to payment.
It is, and and the costs are really not trivial either for this one small project. I mean, it takes a day. It's one day, but it's so far away that we have to go out the day before and spend the night. So there's a hotel room, and then if I bring somebody with me, and some years I do, some years I don't. Sometimes Richie comes with me, and sometimes I just do it by myself if he's not available. And
I should be, though.
We'll see. You say that, so anyway, it's you've got to cover the room for the night for 2 people, and that's in Elko, Nevada, that's like $50. Who knows what that is? And then you get up in the morning and you do the project, and then it's usually like a full day per diem, and then travel time and all that stuff. So you're looking at probably about a 10-hour day. Now, if you're not going back to Reno, we'll have to figure that out. But either way, and then your hourly rate. Yeah. And I gotta go to at least what you're getting with your current employer. And so I mean, you're looking at if I was to actually bill myself out too, you're looking at probably close to $1,000 just to do the project in a day. When you factor in travel and 2 people getting paid full time, and that whole thing. So. And I obviously can pay myself whenever it hurts. I'd rather get paid right away like everybody else, but I'm not requiring it of myself. But if I hire somebody like Richie to come out with me, I mean, you're going to expect to get paid on that relatively quickly, right? As an employee. So, and I don't doubt that. And I want to try to hit that. So, but this just makes it easier. Yeah. And it makes it nice to sit and write the report too, because a lot of times writing the report is really stressful because you're just sitting there thinking, man, every minute I take to write this report, I'm losing money, basically. But if I get paid ahead of time, I'm more likely to push a bunch of things aside and just spend a day and write this thing up, get it done, and get it done in a relaxing environment, and know that I've already been compensated for it.
You know, it's interesting. That was even what I was thinking about. I was thinking, man, I want to go to Elko so I can hit up some of the like wine bars and stuff that they've got there now.
Crazy
that
wine
weren't
bars
there.
in Elko.
Yeah, I mean, when I first passed through there for the Ruby, it was like, you know, that whole center core was like dead.
Yeah.
And now they've got like fancy hipster bars.
I know.
And a sushi joint.
They've got more than one.
Yeah.
The last time I was there for a project was last summer. I worked with a company out of Utah. And they sent a guy over, and we were out in Elko for probably 4 days, I think, 4 or 5 days. I think it was a week.
Yeah.
And he mostly liked to eat in his room and not really go anywhere, which is fine. But I went out, and I tried the sushi place that honestly I didn't think was very good, and it was way more expensive than Reno. It was still all you can eat.
Yeah.
But it was close to like $30, and everything was like drowned in sauce. Like some sort of teriyaki-based sauce, like literally everything. It was just like soaked in sauce.
But you're mainly selling to the miners.
True, and they don't want to taste fish, probably.
Exactly.
They're like, sushi, gross, so cover it in teriyaki and you're good to go. Yeah, I didn't really like that very much. I did go back there twice, though, because they had other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like a sushi and steak bar kind of thing. So actually a little shopping center down at the south end on Idaho.
Oh, that place.
So, yeah. Not where you go up the main drag, but you kind of go around the corner a little bit. Yeah. So, wasn't too bad, actually.
Like, I remember when the only place to eat in town was, like, that bar, like, in that mall with the right off the freeway. It's, like, right on the freeway.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with the movie theater and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I was in the Ruby Pipeline, sometimes we'd head over there to watch a movie and come back.
Nice.
Which was extra crazy since we didn't have days off.
When I was on Ruby Pipeline, the place our go-to, because it was easy and we were, tired from field work all day, was the Chinese place that was in the parking lot of the hotel we were in, at the Budget Inn.
Oh, that place.
Yeah, I spent like 3 or 4 months at the Budget Inn, and we go to Chinese like 3 times a week because it was like right there. So it wasn't bad either. I mean, it probably wasn't the best Chinese I've ever had, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, for Nevada.
I mean, yeah, hell, what the hell? And it was literally right there. Like, I could take a shower, change into some comfortable clothes, and have dinner in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And Chinese is always super quick. Yeah, because they've got it all like cooked back there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Kind of like Panda Express.
Yeah, I feel like every Chinese restaurant is actually a buffet, whether they have the buffet out or not. Right? Like, because they just have the buffet in the back, and they just serve you from that. Yeah.
Speaking of restaurants, I was really surprised at, like, all the building going on in Winnemucca.
Yeah? Really, really coming up?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, isn't that a Newmont mine out there that's really increased the population of the town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, there were the old go-bys, like that bar where Pam saw someone get stabbed.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I don't think that's around anymore. I might be wrong.
I don't even know. How long do you think you'll be out there? Oh, no, you're not going out there next week, are you?
Yeah.
That's still Winnemucca? Okay.
Well, because no one apparently wants to camp.
No, okay.
So we're driving from Winnemucca to where...
Long ways.
Yeah. Because the project was originally supposed to stay in Denio. So you can imagine, like, the drive.
And how long are you scheduled to be there, do you think?
Right now it's looking like if I figured out the rotation schedule, right, should be July.
July. You'll have to see when. I think it's later than that, which is unfortunate, because I think it's like October or September, but the International Human Speed Powered Championships are held outside Winnemucca.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember if that's the exact acronym, but it's basically, if you've ever seen on TV or something, those like bullet-shaped bicycles that are completely surrounded by carbon fiber.
Yeah.
That's human-powered contraption, and there's a stretch of concrete. It's probably 15 miles or so south of Winnemucca on that highway that just goes south out of there. That you can take all the way down through, like, to Austin, I think.
Yeah.
There's a section. It's right before I think it's right before the Newmont mine, and then it's a section that goes east-west on this north-south highway.
Yeah.
And the concrete completely changes. You can see it, and it's this ultra smooth, super dense concrete that's been developed just for that.
Really?
And they bring out grandstands, and we went out there and watched it one time. It was like a whole week and a half long thing.
Wow.
We went out and watched it after work. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
Man, when you said human powered, like, I was thinking like flight or something.
No. And they get up over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah. So,
man.
Yeah, you should check it out. But hey, Justin of the Just Hurts So Good show just joined.
Ooh.
Right at the end here. Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, that reminds me. Did you want to talk about meeting the mayor?
Yeah, you should check out his latest episode. Got to meet the mayor of Reno. She sat right where Richie's sitting now, and talked about becoming the mayor and kind of her goals for the city and things like that. And it was really cool. I never met her before.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever met any mayor before except for my hometown. But anyway, no, that was pretty neat. I'm pretty sure I think she's up for re-election this year in November.
She is.
Yeah, so she'll probably be hitting the media circuit pretty hard.
Oh, that too. But I was thinking she's also hitting the Reno is the most affordable town for its size angle, which is a lie.
Right. I guess it depends on who you talk to.
See, that's the thing. Like I was mentioning at that meeting yesterday, it's like, there are a lot of new jobs in town, but they're all at those warehouses. So they're all like, $12, $13 an hour. And when you, when you look at the rents, like the rents here are meant for people who are earning more like $20 to $30 an hour. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't jibe. And like there are unlike other places, there aren't places for them to go, unless they're willing to put in a like an hour, 2-hour drive. And a lot of people I worked at the warehouse with did. Yeah.
Well, and that is like you said, that is a kind of an issue with Reno. Is we're isolated within a valley here. So unless you want to go north or south down the valley or somewhere else entirely, it's hard. And like you said, people are saying that the house prices are consistent with the size of a town this big, but the problem is the pay is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I mean, even people, those casino workers, I imagine they earn even less. I imagine they earn, like, minimum wage.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and it depends on what you do in a casino. I know there's a woman that I think lives on our floor. We live downtown in a pretty nice condo downtown. Yeah. And there's a woman who, she's either works a table or she's a cocktail waitress, I'm not really sure, but she wears, like, the outfit for, I think, Silver Legacy. She lives in our building.
Wow.
So... If she's a waitress, she probably makes a ton of money on tips.
True.
Would be my guess, because those casino waitresses make pretty good tip money.
Yeah, but then there are all sorts of other people who are in the casino working.
Plenty of them that don't make any tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's like, and most other towns this size are have other industries.
Right. Yeah, we just don't have a lot. And that makes it tough. So
see?
Yeah. But, that's the thing. It's the weird trade-off. It's like as more of those high-priced tech companies come in and they start raising the wages, and other people have to as well. But the problem is, are the wages going to go up consistently with like the affordable housing and things like that? And it's always that difference. So yeah, it's tough. We're going to end up with Bay Area, Silicon Valley kind of thing where there's 15, 20-somethings living in a single 4,000 square foot house. Because that's the only way they can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if it's happening yet because a lot of those really expensive big houses, they're in like gated communities and stuff like that, so they probably have rules against that, Well,
they're going to have to get rid of those.
Well, I know. Any place with an HOA, they're probably like, this is a single family home and you can't put 15 people in here.
Yeah, but then there aren't enough people.
Well, I know. I'll have to change something.
See? Oh, thanks for coming in.
Should we wrap it up?
Oh my God, we should.
Yeah. So Richie's got a truncated time schedule with his recording ability. Cool. So we'll mention that right away. If you want to see higher quality versions of these shows, about 5 months ahead, behind the time.
Well, I'm working on it, but the problem is these files are so large.
Yeah.
And like I've got to use 2 computers now.
Right.
Thanks to the Adobe and all their weird driver issues.
Right. So anyway, check out his channel at
Happy Archaeology Fun Time
on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you can also find it on arcpodnet.com. Check out arcpodnet.com/ You can see it. It says, "You call this archaeology," with hyphens in between the words.
True.
If you go there, or you just go to arcpodnet.com, you'll see the logo on the front page. Click on that. You can watch either there or on Richie's page, because both of them give Richie hits. So it doesn't matter, because we just link to the YouTube videos there. Even if I could put the video up on our page, I wouldn't, because it's enormous.
See?
Yeah, that's why I love just embedding a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Because it benefits the YouTuber and it benefits the site that they're on.
Well, it's like this morning. I was trying to upload a card and it's like 23 gigabytes.
Right.
It's like, that's not going to take a while.
That takes a long time. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
you should also mention the fact that I feel like the annual memberships, people seem to like that.
yeah, check that out. arcpodnet.com/members. When you hit the login sign up button,
Yeah.
I've actually changed some of the graphics on the website for the membership, which I like. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then when you click in, you'll now have an option. Instead of doing a monthly, you'll get to buy a year's worth of any of the 3 levels, and you save 30%, which is pretty big. So
what's the lowest price now?
God, I think it's like $42 or something to get an annual membership at the lowest rate.
Oh wow!
The $5 a month one. Yeah, because otherwise it's $60, and you save 30%. I think it comes down to like $45 or $43 or something.
See?
So.
And when and it's April, and like people are flush with like money.
I know, right? Yeah, give us some of that per diem cash. So. yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's pretty much all I have.
Yeah, that's all I've got. Well, I have more, but
Yeah. But we don't have more. We don't have more digits on the card.
Because if I let it go to 0, it'll corrupt it.
It'll corrupt the file.
Yeah.
So we want to stop that pretty soon.
I know. Right now.
All right.
So
well, thanks everybody. We'll end the streaming now, and.